Enchantment, Book 1 of the Channie series. Excerpt read by the author, Charlotte Abel. Channie's second day at Monarch was worse than her first. Every single kid seemed to know her full name and enjoyed using it. The only one that was nice to her was Josh Abram, and he was so shy all he did was grin and wave at her from a distance, and stare at her during English Lit when he thought she wasn't looking. In the interest of keeping her life as uncomplicated as possible, Channie decided to avoid him. Unfortunately, she couldn't stop thinking about him. Or that kiss. By Friday, the note Josh had given her was as soft and wrinkled as crushed velvet. Channie read it at least a dozen times a day, even though she'd memorized every word of it. She wanted to call him, but even if they'd had a telephone, and even if she pretended it was only to ask for help with homework, Daddy would never allow it. What was the big deal? It wasn't like she was going to marry him. Halfway through biology, Channie decided to quit letting Mama and Daddy control every aspect of her life. The chastity curse was bad enough. She'd be damned if she'd let them choose her friends, too. She ran to the cafeteria as soon as the bell rang, but Josh wasn't there. She looked outside, but gave up after 15 minutes of searching. Oh well, there was always tomorrow. Channie climbed to the top row of the bleachers by the baseball field and sat down to enjoy her lunch. The sun felt wonderful, but she didn't want more freckles, so she cast a protective spell on her bare skin before pulling her lunch sack out of her backpack. She was disappointed, but not surprised, when her peanut butter and jelly sandwich was missing the jelly. Abby had already eaten all the pickled okra and bottled peaches they'd brought from home. If Channie had been smart, she would have hidden at least one jelly jar of Mama's blackberry jam in her closet. An obnoxious clanging sound interrupted Channie's sandwich inspection. She jerked her head towards the source of the commotion and groaned as she watched Eric charge up the bleachers. He flopped down next to her and leaned back against the rails. "Hey, Chastity Belt, what are you doing out here all by yourself? Pretending to watch an invisible baseball game?" Channie wanted to zap him. "It's Belks, you moron! B-E-L-K-S." She jammed her sandwich back in the bag and stood up to leave. Eric jumped to his feet and stepped in front of her, blocking her path. The brown paper sack rustled in her fisted hands. "Stay away from me." Eric frowned and made a huffing sound in the back of his throat. "I'm not going to hurt you." "Sorry, I can't make the same promise. Now get out of my way." Channie was debating the pros and cons of cursing Eric when Josh came out of nowhere and ran up the steps, taking them 3 at a time. "Leave her alone, asshat." Channie pulled her bristling magic in tight and held on. Josh was too close. Eric kept his gaze locked on Channie's chest as he smarted off to Josh. "Get lost, beanpole. I don't think Cassie would like it very much if she found out you were hitting on Channie." Eric's girlfriend, Cassie, was the same girl that had called Channie an inbred hillbilly in the bathroom on the first day of school. In addition to being a shameless gossip, Cassie was insanely jealous. "I don't think Cassie would mind one bit if Eric hit me. He's a jerk, but I don't think he's the kind of jerk that beats up on women." Eric's jaw dropped. He grabbed his belly and laughed out loud. "You gotta be kidding me." Channie wanted to shove him off the bleachers. Josh had a puzzled expression on his face, but at least he wasn't laughing at her. Eric rolled his eyes. "Come on, Chastity. No one's that dumb." Josh glared at Eric. "Don't call her Chastity." "Why not? It's her name. Even old Lady Windsor calls her Chastity. Isn't that right, Chastity Belt?" Josh fisted his hands. The air crackled with anger. "Cut it out, Eric." "Well, if she doesn't want to be called Chastity, I could give her a nickname." "She already has one. It's Channie." "Oh, I know, but I think we can come up with something better than that." Channie could tell from Eric's tone of voice that she wasn't going to like it. "Let's see. We could call her Chaz, but that's too masculine." Josh leaned toward Eric. "I'm warning you." "I've got it." Eric snapped his fingers and pointed at Channie. "We can use the second half of her name. Drop the Chaz, and that leaves you with—" Josh launched himself at Eric, knocking him over backwards. But in less time than a single heartbeat, Eric reversed positions, straddled Josh's hips, and punched him in the nose. He cocked his arm back, but before he could land another punch, Channie blasted him with a bolt of pure energy. He flew backwards and tumbled down the bleachers as if he'd been hit by an invisible train. Oh no! Channie had only been trying to protect Josh. She wasn't trying to hurt Eric. She kept forgetting that Chastity's magic was exponentially more powerful than Enchantment's. Josh jumped to his feet, ignoring the blood gushing out of his nose, and ran down the steps towards Eric. He had every right to retaliate for the cheap shot, but Channie didn't know how badly Eric was injured. If he had a concussion and Josh hit him, it could cause irreparable brain damage. She was drained from the expenditure of so much power. All magic had its cost, even enchantments. But the way Chastity consumed energy, all at once and without reservation, left her reeling. She couldn't even stand, much less protect Eric with magic. "Josh, please don't." Instead of attacking Eric, Josh knelt beside him and put a hand on his shoulder. "Eric, are you okay?" Josh's energy field radiated with pure compassion. Channie was immediately drawn to it. It was wrong to take someone's energy without their permission, but Josh was magically disabled, and even if he knew he was generating positive energy, he wouldn't know what to do with it. And Channie desperately needed it. So she took it. The energy unexpectedly bypassed her power well and flowed straight into her heart of hearts. Channie wanted to shout with joy when she felt Enchantment stir. Its magic was weak and inaccessible, but it was still a part of her, still able to attract and use positive energy. Maybe someday she could restore Enchantment to its proper place, if she still wanted to. There was no doubt that Chastity's magic was far superior to Enchantment's when it came to raw power, but Channie missed the positive energy of everyone's adoration, whether she deserved it or not. You didn't make many friends by cursing them. A quiet groan interrupted Channie's brooding. She used the energy she had taken from Josh and directed it into her power well so Chastity would have enough magic to scan both boys for injuries. Eric had a mild concussion, but Channie knew better than to mess with a person's brain. Without the proper training, she'd more likely do harm than good. Josh's nose was broken and gushing blood like a faucet, but she was pretty sure she could fix it. After all, she had healed a robin's wing just last summer, and a nose wasn't nearly as complicated or fragile as a broken wing. Even if she messed up, it's not like it was going to kill him. Channie pressed her fingers against her own nose, focusing on the form and function of bone and cartilage, then scanned Josh's nose, comparing the differences. She focused her mind and cast the healing spell. There was a loud pop, followed by an even louder yelp of pain. Josh ran a finger over the bridge of his nose and swore. "Damn it!" Eric sat up and said, "What's wrong?" "You broke my effing nose!" "Yeah, but that was 5 minutes ago. What just happened? I heard something crack." "I don't know, but it hurts worse now than it did when you hit me." Channie cringed. She should have cast a pain-away spell first, or no spell at all. She needed more practice with Chastity's magic before she used it to fuel a healing spell. It was a lot harder to heal someone with negative energy. Josh sneezed twice, swearing and spraying blood clots everywhere. But at least his nose quit bleeding. Unfortunately, it was still swelling, and the skin under both eyes was turning purple. He helped Eric to his feet, then looked at Channie. "If anyone asks, tell them we were tossing a football around. I missed and got smacked in the face, okay?" Channie nodded her head. She read Josh's energy field, expecting to find anger and fear since he was focused on her, but all she found was affection, a desire to protect her, and lust. Eric was a different story. He radiated nothing but fear and anger. "If you ever come near me again—" "Dude, you started it." Josh cut him off. "But she hit me with some kind of power beam." "Power beam? Seriously?" Josh glanced at Channie with a questioning look, then turned back to Eric. "How hard did you hit your head?"